My entitled girlfriend is demanding that we pool our incomes and spend them together, but I earn 7 times more than she does and plan my finances, while she spends her money on stupid stuff and complains about being broke by the end of the month. Now I'm questioning our relationship. So here's the deal, me, 25M, and my girlfriend, 22F, have been together for a little under 3 years and have been living together for a few months. My girlfriend takes college classes and works part-time. I finished college 2 years ago, quickly got hired by the company I did my internship at, and within a year, I got a promotion and a large pay raise. I am now making roughly $150K a year, while she makes $20K a year. She moved in with me a few months ago into the place I bought, so I pay nearly all the costs, mortgage, electricity, water, etc. The only thing she pays for herself are non-essentials like Spotify, her phone bill, Netflix, and so forth. Recently, we got into a huge fight where she demanded we pool our money together and spend what is left after essential costs together. Currently, I pay for basically every essential and my own stuff, use a bit to enjoy myself, and put the rest into my savings. Now she seems to be jealous that I have a lot more to spend, which is not really true since after monthly costs, I put the majority into my savings account. In my eyes, she already gets an easy ride, and honestly, she is just bad with the money she does have. She spends it on crap like stupidly expensive clothes and then complains she is broke at the end of the month. So what do? I hate to put money in the way of our relationship, but if I am honest, I am questioning my relationship because there is no way I'm going to let her essentially spend my salary on stupid stuff. Edit, there are so many comments that I'm having a hard time keeping up. If I don't respond, know that I am trying to at least read your comment. I just want to thank everyone for their responses, from those who yell gold digger to those who take a middle ground approach. Even those who yell about MGTOW or something and those who are of the opinion that I need to give her all my money because of a pink tax or something. All advice is appreciated and gives me an extra light to view this in. Some more info from the comments. She currently works a part-time job in elderly care while attending school, but she plans on working full-time once she finishes her education. She said she feels it is unfair that I have so much spending money while she is broke at the end of the month and thus feels it is fair we pool our finances. In reality, I spend less on myself than she does each month by a long shot. I mean, my biggest expenses the past 2 years have been suits, but as you may imagine, it's not like I'm going around buying a new expensive suit every week. As for vacations, the only vacation I have taken without her since we have been together was Christmas at my mom's, which I doubt can be considered a huge expense. She likely does feel pressure to look good and honestly might feel insecure, but I have tried to talk to her about that, and there is little I can do beyond reaffirming her. The reality is, with what she is studying, she can expect to be paid around $70K once she gets a job in her field, so there will always be a considerable income gap between us. Again, there is nothing I can do about that. If you ask me personally, I think it is a mixture of jealousy, insecurities, and a healthy dose of entitlement. All things considered, she has it really good and has plenty of spending money, considering her entire income is basically spending money. There is no real reason to pool finances. Also, pooling finances would be ridiculously lopsided as it would essentially translate to me giving her $75K a year while she gives me $10K a year. As for marriage for me is only on the table when I am at the point in my life where I want children. Update, so, I figured since the post sort of blew up 3 weeks ago and people requested that I make an update to tell them what I ended up doing. Well, here goes. In short, I ended up breaking up with her. I realized, in part, thanks to some good advice I had gotten, that there was more bothering me than just the financial part. The thing is, when thinking to myself in the next few days, I found myself combing over every little detail of our relationship and quickly realized I was putting in way more than I was getting back. No, I am not saying I am some perfect saint, but I do think I deserve someone who appreciates what I already do, especially when what I already do so vastly outweighs what she did in our relationship. Another big issue was the apparent maturity gap between the two of us, which I overlooked with my rose-tinted in love glasses. While I have changed as a person from who I was when we started dating, she is still pretty much the same person, and without trying to badmouth her, that is a person you can be without any issues when you're between 15 and 20, not when you are in a committed relationship, thinking about having kids at some point, managing your own finances, and planning for the future. And that brings me to the largest issue there, planning. I am a planner. I look out for the future. I am not opposed to spending some money on fun stuff while I am young, but I don't want to risk ending up broke and unhappy when I am older because I refuse to get serious in my youth. This is where our personal views seem to clash to an extent where the good no longer outweigh the bad. She constantly lives in the moment, spends what she can, and is used to an easy ride where the biggest thing she ever had to worry about was her grades. But for me, I have faced financial issues since I was young, so I know the value of money, and I know that planning can spare you a lot of hurt. I am not saying either of our views is superior or better, but when you are supposed to be a partnership and you wildly differ on the most basic foundations of that partnership, there is not much hope. As a result, I realized I did not see myself getting more committed to her, which means you sort of hit a roadblock in your relationship. I mean, I am not a fan of marriage from the get-go, but after such a long time, if you are not even remotely considering it, there is probably a larger issue. This argument about finances brought up a whole load of other issues for me, and honestly, I sort of started to dread what, in my mind, looked like me being expected to fund a lifestyle I fundamentally do not agree with. I realized I was losing my own self-worth by accepting this sort of situation, and the fact that we had an argument about my money and her demanding to spend half of it made me feel like a glorified ATM. Now, the breakup was really messy, and her dad was a rock during the entire thing. He calmed the situation down a lot, despite him really hating what was happening. But I think he understood. I can't say I am not gutted about all of this. After all, this is someone I was with for roughly 3 years, and getting used to not having her or her family, whom I was really close to, is difficult. But in the end, after the initial dust settled, I sort of feel liberated and a lot happier than I did a few weeks ago. I wish her nothing but the best in the future, and I know it has to be without me. As for me, I sort of feel like I get to start over, hopefully find someone a lot more suited to me in the future, but I won't be actively looking. Honestly, being single after such a long time in a relationship feels nice. I get to focus what little free time I have on myself, which is something I have not been able to do for a long time. I get to indulge in my hobbies properly, and so forth. Anyhow, I want to thank everyone for their advice. If I was rude to anyone, I am sorry. At the time, I was in a bad emotional place, but I am doing a lot better now. So whether you figured I was a douche and completely disagreed with me, or whether you think I was a good guy and figured I was right, or somewhere on the extremes or in the middle, thanks for your advice.